We're talking Russell Westbrook today, honoring him in light of his retirement. But before we get started, please like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video, share the video, show some love. So when we think about Russell Westbrook, right, we can't sit here and think about the last 5-6 years of his career, especially once he got to LA. When we think of Russell Westbrook, we think of the guy who got drafted in 2008, went to the NBA Finals against LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, when he had KD, James Harden, Serge Ibaka. Looking back, who would have thought how that OKC would have kind of dissipated in the lanes and roads each player would go down, right? Who would have thought? But the one guy on that team that I think does not get the respect that he deserves is Russell Westbrook. Okay, when we think of Russell Westbrook, we think of him an MVP, averaging a triple-double in 4 different seasons. KD leaves, he takes that OKC team to the playoffs, wins an MVP that next year, averages a triple-double. He showed other players. Russell Westbrook is the reason a lot of these other players go and get their triple-doubles now, because he showed them that it's doable. He averaged it 4 times, 4 different seasons, averaged the triple-double. I think of his 9 All-NBAs, the 2 first teams, the 5 second teams, the 2 third team. I think of his 2 scoring titles, 2014, let me look at my notes, 2014, 2015, and 2016 and 2017 seasons. He's a 2-time NBA assist leader and champion. He won scoring titles, but was also the NBA leader in assists for 2 seasons, right? He's the NBA 75th anniversary member. Top 75 player of all time through the first 75 seasons. All-time triple-doubles leader, 199, I believe. First player since Oscar Robinson to average a triple-double. Again, did it in 4 different seasons. He has over 25,000 plus points where he averaged, his season averages now, when we look at his season averages, through his career, he averaged 21, 7, and 7. And through 122 career playoff games, he averaged 23, 7, and 7. Okay, so now we think about Russell Westbrook. He's retired now, right? I feel like Russell Westbrook still had a lot left in the tank. He had a lot left in the tank and a lot to give to the game of basketball and to NBA franchises. When he hopped onto the Kings, that was kind of late in the summer last year, right? And the same thing was happening to him this year. He only had the Wizards and he had the Kings. The Kings would bring him back, and I wish he would have went back to Sacramento. What did he average last season in Sacramento? Last season in Sacramento, Russell Westbrook averaged 15, 5, and 6. He still had a good season. He was still able to contribute and do what he does. The Kings were awful, but that wasn't Russell Westbrook's fault. But let's look at this. Through his first 11 seasons, he's with OKC. He wins an MVP. He goes to the finals once. And after KD left, right, he did everything he could to make sure OKC was still on the map and that they were not going to go backward. And so after that dream ended, right, they get rid of Paul George and they let Russell Westbrook go. And Russell Westbrook goes to Houston. He bounces from Houston to Washington, and then he goes to LA. In Washington, the year before he went to LA, he averaged a triple-double. Him and Bradley Beal willed that Washington Wizards team to the playoffs. Russell Westbrook was a monster. Did they do anything in the playoffs? Unfortunately, no, right? You had some dogs out there in the East. You had the Heat, you had the Celtics, you had the Sixers, you had the Raptors. The East was, I would say the East was on their way to where they are now, and the East is a lot better now. But anyways, he averages a triple-double, then he goes to LA, and that's where we see things kind of go south for Russell Westbrook. I think he was put in a position where he couldn't be himself. He couldn't be Brody. He couldn't play the way he always had played, because when he did, it just didn't mesh well with LeBron. Which franchise would take LeBron James and take Russell Westbrook? 2 guys that essentially do the same things. They like to get to the rim, right? Their jump shooting isn't their strength, but they get their assists and they get their rebounds. Russell Westbrook is the greatest rebounding guard of all time. But how does that work with a LeBron James when you also have an AD and you have those other pieces there? And that's when we started to see things go south for Russell Westbrook. I don't know what happened behind closed doors. I don't know if it's a LeBron thing. I don't know if it's a front office thing. I don't know what happened. But after that is when the disrespect for Russell Westbrook got so bad, right? It already started when he won his MVP and averaged triple-doubles. He's a stat pattern. But when James Harden did it, oh, James Harden's next, right? He's the truth. LeBron James does it. It's no problem. It's the GOAT doing it, right? And I'm not throwing any shade at them. I'm just saying this is how it worked. This is how it was. People would disrespect Russ for his triple-doubles and his accomplishments, but they'd get everyone else their flowers when they did it. He showed everyone the triple-double's doable. You can get your points, but you can get your assist and boards too, and that impacts the game to wins. you know, and a lot of his triple doubles he got were in close games. He wasn't just stat padding the stat pad. He had to do it. He had to do it. Anyways, he goes to LA. Things don't really work out in LA. You see his production drop, right? A lot of the fingers. And again, I'm not saying this is LeBron's fault, but it's just the nature of the beast. When the Lakers aren't doing too well, people aren't, you know, it's not going well in LA. Everyone else's fault, but whose? LeBron's, right? LeBron did a lot. He does a lot. Top 3 player of all time, right? Top 2 player of all time, right? But that's just how it is. There's always a fall guy, and it was Russ. So after that, he goes to the Clippers. Kind of the same thing. He wasn't able to really beat Russ. You'd see the flashes just like in LA, but they didn't really let him cut loose with Kawhi, PG there, right? It just wasn't there, right? He goes to the Nuggets after the Clippers, right? Bench role, reserve role, vet minimum. He just wants to be on a team, impact winning. The Nuggets were just a year or two out of their playoff window. Not playoff window, but their NBA championship. Goes one season there. Then last season, he's in Sacramento. They're awful. And now here we are. He had 2 offers, the Wizards. He had the Kings again, okay? So now we're sitting here talking Russell Westbrook was retired. And I'm happy he did it this way. It is sad, but I'm happy he went out on his own terms because I think we all know the writing was on the wall. He wasn't going to get the respect he deserves. He wasn't going to get no farewell tour. He wasn't going to get all that kind of stuff, right? He's going to be on a bench reserve role. You're going to get some flashes again here and there, but he wasn't going to be able to be himself. And I feel like Russell Westbrook still has the ability to play meaningful basketball for any organization, whether it's a rebuilding one or it's a team contending right now. But out of all the people in the league that teams are signing and they just don't want to take the risk on Russ, I don't understand it because all of his former teammates, organizations say he's the best guy. He's the best teammate you want. And so I can't take the Westbrook slander of the Westbrook and all that kind of stuff because people are right? He has a family, he has kids. Show this man some respect of what he's done for the game of basketball. But Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, if people in his era drafted in the late 2000s, in the early 2010s, I think Russell Westbrook's the 6th best player out of his generation. I have LeBron 1, obviously, Steph 2, Kawhi 3, KD 4, Giannis 5, Russ 6, James Harden 7, Chris Paul 8, let me look at my notes, Anthony Davis 9, Dame Lillard 10. I think Russell Westbrook, drafted late 2000s, early 2010s, people in his generation is the 6th best player. Argue with me about it. Let me know what you guys think. That's something to put in the comment, right? Come argue with me about that. I'll argue about that all day. MVP, 2-time scoring champ, 2-time NBA assist leader, 9-time All-NBA, 2 first teams, 5 second teams, 2 third team, right? Russell Westbrook was that guy, high flying, right? He'll go block the big man at the rim, right? He'll go get you 20, 20, and 20. He did all that. His stat lines, you show someone in 1960 Russell Westbrook stat lines, they'd think he's an alien. But I love Russell Westbrook. He had a hell of a career, and he had some great playoff performances. So before I get off here, let's talk a couple of those playoff performances. Okay, let's start that NBA Finals against the Heat. Russell Westbrook for that series averaged 27, 6, and 6 at 23 years old. First time ever being in the finals. But he had one game 4, which they unfortunately lost. He had 43, 7, and 5. I remember watching that as a kid in middle school. I was in high school at this point. I was in high school. And I was like, oh my gosh. I thought the OKC Thunder were going to win multiple championships together. And unfortunately, after that season, James Harden left. But this guy, Russell Westbrook, just a dog. His tenacity, his ferociousness playing the game of basketball, it was inspiring. His MVP season, he had a game 2 where he had 51, 13, and 10. The highest scoring triple-double in NBA history and the first 50-point triple-double in NBA history. Later on in that series, he had 47 and 11 and 9. And unfortunately, the team that he willed to the playoffs got bounced by a really good Houston Rockets team, 4-1. And then we look at his playoffs in 2018 against the Jazz. He had a game 5, he had 45, 15, 7. Game 6, he had 46, 10, 5, and 2. In those 2 games, he had 91, 25, and 12 assists. Absolutely crazy. So when we talk Russell Westbrook, it's easy for us to forget who he was in his peak, in his prime. We live in a day and age now where social media makes us think he's a bum, and it's just not the case, and I will never stand for it. Let me know what you guys think, because Russell Westbrook's 1 of 1. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the flowers he deserves. He didn't get a ring, but the stuff he did and the performances he put up, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and the game's going to miss him a lot, but I'm happy he did everything on his terms. Skywalking with Wetz. I'm tired of the people in the background not liking, subscribing. My socials are doing all right now, but it's the YouTube right now I can't gain the traction. Thank you guys so much. Peace.